Hello and welcome to Norway and to Bergen Airport, located southwest of Bergen city. Today's flight goes from Bergen, Norway to Billund Airport, Denmark, with this beautiful Boeing 787-9 operated by Lufthansa. The ground service is now handling the aircraft, and in a few moments the passenger will board the aircraft. Welcome to the cockpit of this Boeing Dreamliner, and we will now configure the systems of the aircraft for the flight. And now the bus with the passengers are arriving. Today is November the 6th, 2018. And in a few moments we will go into the cockpit and prepare this flight by setting up all the systems of the aircraft.
Morning. Morning. The seat boarding council, please. Thank you. Morning. Thank you.
Hi, morning.
Morning.
And here we can see a map of Bergen Airport, and our aircraft is located at stand number 1. The aircraft is too big to fit in one of the other gates, so this is the only stand for heavy aircrafts in this airport. And here we have our flight plan for today's flight. And we are departing to the north, a left turn, and then going south to along the west coast of Norway and cross the North Sea and come into Denmark north of Ringkøbing Fjord, and then directly to Adabo and Gelba and into runway 09 in Billund.
Hello. Thank you. Hi. Thank you.
Hello. Sorry, I have a beautiful one.
Hi, morning.
Welcome aboard.
Hello.
Hello.
We have 181 passengers on board this aircraft today. The passengers are now nearly boarded, and handling of the luggage of the aircraft is going on. A short while. So we'll now set up the aircraft for this flight, and for the moment the APU is running to provide electricity to the aircraft until the engines are taking over. So we'll start putting some lights on the panels, and the logo and beacon outside lights are turned on, and we are setting the pressure the barometer. And the local pressure in Bergen is 101.2 hectopascal. We are setting the display range to 20 miles and the flight director and the auto throttle on. And we move the seats forwards so we have the right position. We expect the initial climb level to 7,000 feet. And the heading for runway 35 is 348 degrees. And on the co-pilot side we set the terrain radar, the traffic, the airport, VOR left and VOR right. And on the captain side we choose to set the VSD and the weather radar, the traffic, airport, and VOR left and right as well. The auto brake on RTO. And we set the transponder to active. And set the lights for the center panel. And set the mic to the captain side. So we'll now do the pre-flight checklist. We'll now check the oxygen on the captain side, 100%. And on the co-pilot side, also 100%. Checked the flight instruments, heading and altimeter set, parking brake set. So before taxi checklist, passenger signs are on. The MTP is not set. So we will now set up the FMC, and first of all the departure airport. We can now shut the doors. The passengers are already boarded, and the cargo is also on board, so we can close the cargo doors as well. So we can proceed with setting up the FMC. The The reference airport is Echo November Bravo Romeo for Bergen. And departing runway is 35. And the destination airport is Echo Kilo Bravo India for Billund. And the flight number is 1462. And we request the prepared flight plan from Bergen to Billund. And we have it here. Okay, and we put it again. The departing runway is 35, and then activate and execute. Performance. We have a fuel weight of 57,000 pounds. Our flight level will be 390, 39,000 feet, and the cost index is 37. Execute. And that gives our velocities, 5 degrees of flaps, and we are setting the trim, the elevator trim for the departure, and it's calculated to 4.75 set. And the V1 is 134 and the V rotate is 136 knots, and the V2 is 146 knots. And we set the V2 to the MCP. And we choose the approach speed to 143 knots by 30 degrees of flaps, and then we put in the SID, the standard instrument departure from runway 35, and we have to use Tuxi 3 Delta departure. And we execute that. And we check that the velocities are the same, they have not changed. The V2 is 146 knots. Correct. And the arrival start to Billund. We arrive at runway 09 via the Adabo approach. Execute. And we check that there are no discontinuities in the flight plan by stepping through that flight plan like this. And we can see all the waypoints are bound together except of the last part before our approach, so we make that a bit smoother. So we go directly to Idabo and then Gelbe and into Billund. So this will be our flight plan.
Alright, it'll be a left seat takeoff. Taxi route is per ATC instructions. Standard reject procedures. Will depart. In the event of an emergency return, we'll coordinate with ATC. You'll fly the airplane out on the checklist and coordinate with the air traffic control company and the flight attendants. Any questions?
This is the CDU pre-flight completed. The trim set to 4.75 units. We turn on the beacon lights and takeoff speeds checked. And next is the before taxi checklist. And we turn on the LNAV and the VNAV, and we are now pretty ready to request clearance to Billund from the ATC. Stavanger Control, Lufthansa 1462 at stand 1 Bergen Airport, request airfare clearance to Billund.
Lufthansa 1462, Norway Control, good evening. Here at Billund, taxi 3 Delta departure, here at 6,000 squawk 4475.
Clear to Billund via runway 35, taxi 3 Delta departure, squawk 7475, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, confirm initial climb 6,000 feet and squawk 4475.
Squawk 4475 and initial climb is flight level 60, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, Riba, correct. Started approved, correct, 1013.
Units 1013, Lufthansa 1462.
Shuttle 62, welcome taxi, Golf Romeo stand 15. Golf Romeo stand 15, no shuttle 62.
We have now got our IFR clearance to Billund, and we can now start the engines while no pushback is needed from this stand. Request to start engines, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, start approved.
Start approved, Lufthansa 1462. We will start the engines by a dual start, which means that we start both the engines at the same time.
Request radio check.
And we are now adding the fuel to the
German
engines.
1221, direct on the ENBR-EKBI.
And the engines are now spooling up.
Radio 5 also, Scandinavian 1221. Solar control,
Scandinavian 1221 at stand 17 Sola, the Boeing 736, with information November, request clearance, IFR clearance to Gardermoen as well.
We turn off the center pumps and the APU and turn on the strobe lights, the taxi light and the runway turn off lights. And we are now ready to ask for taxi to runway 35. First we make a controls check. Full right, full left, center, full up, full down, center, rudder right, rudder left, center. Controls check completed. Our taxi checklist: anti-ice off, recall checked, flight controls checked, ground equipment clear to the left, clear to the right, before taxi checklist completed. And we set the flaps to 5 for the takeoff. Request taxi Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, taxi Yankee, holding point Alpha 9.
Taxi via Yankee to holding point runway 35 Lufthansa 1462. Parking brake off. And here we go.
Flight attendants, please be seated for departure.
The taxi will be very short while we are close to runway 35.
And Lufthansa 1462, and up runway 35.
Say again, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, line up runway 35.
Line up runway 35, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, wind 0530, 3 knots, runway 35, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 35, Lufthansa 1462. We turn on the landing lights. and 50% thrust. And then toga.
Check thrust. Thrust in. 80 knots. Check. B1. Rotate. B2. Positive rate. Gear up.
North Shuttle 645, is that correct?
Traffic.
Skyline 2887, Norway, good evening. With you passing flight level 300 to 350 left, RGQ.
Flaps
Skyline 2887, kontroll, riktig program, markert for Prepar3D.
Third person 355, Skyline 287.
Flaps up.
Beautiful view to the left. And flaps up.
With our flight underway, I'd like to once again welcome you aboard. I'd also like to offer a special welcome to our quality truck flight. You will be earning $1 the miles on your flight today. If you're not a member, please visit us at keywingsend.com. In just a few minutes, we will be Billund beverage service for your first class.
After takeoff checklist.
In Coke,
Stand
beer,
by.
wine, and margaritas can be purchased with a debit or credit card. We apologize as we do not accept cash.
Distance now 146 and 5,500 feet. Climb at category 90.
All included free.
Climb to flight level 90, Lufthansa 1462.
Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
And Lufthansa 1462, correct Billund.
Direct land til Lufthansa 1462.
Airplane 6 Mike, descend 6 feet, QNH 1012.
6,000 feet on QNH 1012, Airplane 6 Mike.
Now we got a direct to landing and to climb flight level 90. Execute, and the aircraft will now make a nearly 180 degrees turn to the right. We have now reached the transition level and will set the pressure to standard pressure.
615, confirm squawk 5364 set. North Shuttle 615, push starboard, QNH 1013.
Skyline 287, request descent.
First, North Shuttle 615, push starboard, QNH 1013.
Landing gear up, flaps up, after takeoff, checklist
Skyline
completed.
287, when ready, descend, category 100.
Descend 100, Scandinavian 287.
Aztec 017, descend 8,000 feet, QNH 1012.
Descend 8,000 feet, QNH 1013.
And here we can see the direct to Landi instead of all the waypoints along the west coast of Norway, which will shorten our flights with several minutes.
Bergen 6 Mike, descend 2,700 feet.
Descend 2,700 feet, Avenue 6 Mike.
Request climb Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462 was cleared for level 3, 9 or so. So climb for level 3, 9 or so.
Climb to flight level 390 Lufthansa 1462, thank you. Now we got a level change to our final cruising level, flight level 390.
Suspect 017, descend 7,000 feet, reduce speed to 27 knots or less.
Reducing speed to 220 less and repeat altitude, Suspect 017.
Suspect 017, confirm it's 7,000 feet.
5,000 feet, descending to 5,000 and speed 220 less, Suspect 017.
Suspect 017, 7,000 feet.
We have now passed 10,000 feet and will turn off the landing lights.
Suspect 017, correct.
Avenue 6 Mike requesting 360 to reduce altitude.
Bergen 6 Mike, absolute.
Avenue 6 Mike will perform 360 to reduce altitude.
Suspect 017, clear to south, descend 3,000 feet.
Suspect descending to 3,000 Suspect 017.
Bergen 6 Mike, speed 210 knots or less.
Speed 210 knots or less. Avenue 6 Mike, and just for your information, it's flying 200 indication.
Bergen 6 Mike, Roger, thank you. And Suspect 017, we have took suspect position, Kerala less approach, runway 36. Okay, transition to service runway 36, thank you, sir. And aspect 717 for information, you're currently number 1 for approach and shared for 8 speed. Thank you, sir. Copy. Shuttle 615, taxi, whiskey, Golf, Yankee, Honeypot 735. Bergen 6 Mike is back direct airbus. Bergen 6 Mike Archer via elevated transition, Carolina approach, runway 36. With LSG6 via airbus transition, Bergen 6 Mike.
Here we can see our progress related to our flight plan.
Scan 287, direct to descent 6,000 feet.
Scan 287, confirm with QNH 1013.
QNH 1013.
Shuttle 615, line up on runway 35. And aspect 717, report indicated airspeed.
Current speed is 167, but we are going to reduce to our final speed, which is 157 after 01.
We have now passed 28,000 feet and can now release the cabin.
Okay, speed 160 or greater until 40 meters, and full establish after 01.
677, contact tower 18.35 storm.
Okay, tower 1835, thank you very much for the PCM, until next time, sir. Bye-bye, after 01.
Bergen 6 Mike, cruise speed 177 up to left, following heading Boeing 777 by the side.
Bergen 6 Mike, currently 160 indicated.
Airplane 6 Mike, Archer, thank you. Shuttle 615, winds 0430, 3 knots, runway 35, traffic goes. Scan 287, descend 4,000 feet.
Crossing it, Scan the name is 287.
As you can see on the navigation display, we start our descent towards Billund just after we have left the coastline of Norway, and it's marked with a T/D on screen.
Bergen 69, contact Sula Tower, 118.35,
During our final climb to our cruising level, we can maintain a ground speed of 449 knots, which is quite good. But it's also a very powerful aircraft, this Boeing 787.
Scan 287, we are good in position, KLS 735.
Well, we'll need KLS 35, Scan 287.
North Shuttle 315, identified 5,200 feet. Climb flight level 310, direct to Cool Cup.
We will now prepare our landing in Billund by calculating our landing performance, and the airport is Echo Kilo Bravo India, runway 09. The condition of the surface is dry, and the CAT landing will be manual. The AE configuration, reverse, spoilers will be set to auto, and the brakes will be set to auto brake level 2. And calculate, and we can see our landing weight will be 346 tons, and we will send the data to the FMC. And ding, the data is received in the FMC, and we can now accept the data. We have now reached our cruising level, flight level 390. We are now facing some high altitude turbulence, so we will turn on the seatbelt lights. We are shortly crossing the coastline of Norway and go into the North Sea, and in a short while we will reach our top of the
contact your control, frequency 118.7.
118.875 for Lufthansa 1462, thank you. We were now handed over to Norwegian control on 118.87.
Norway control, Lufthansa 1462, flight level 390, inbound landing.
Lufthansa 1462, Norway control, good. Marshall 370, Norway control. Marshall 544, clear direct input.
Direct input, Marshall 544.
Marshall 995, descent 4,000 feet, cleared ILS 01 right. To contact Norway Control on 120.65. Hold on.
120.65, hold on, Marshall 542.
We have now 6 miles to our top of descent. Descent checklist. Recall checked. Notes checked. Auto brake. Level 2.
As well as any other items you wish to discard.
Landing data. VREF. 30 degrees flaps. 143 knots. Approach briefing completed.
Request descent, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, stand by shortly.
Control, good evening, November 8th, Zurich Bravo Lima at Oslo, stand 16, push out of clearance to Gatwick as filed.
First, Lufthansa 462, descent flight level 300.
Descent to 300, Lufthansa 1462.
Now we can start our descent down to
And
flight level 300.
then Marshall 995, runway 01 left at land, wind 350 degrees, 3 knots. November 808, Bravo Lima, you are clear to Gatwick, kilometer 1 left, torque for Alpha departure, initial climb 7,000 feet and squawk 0630.
Clear Gatwick as filed, initial climb 7,000, squawk 0630 for November 8 to Bravo Lima.
November 8 to Bravo Lima, confirm 12-4 Alpha departure.
Code for Alpha departure for November 8 to Bravo Lima.
November 8 to Bravo Lima, read the correct information, X-ray start.
Permission X and call you back for permission, sir.
Marshal 615 Marine Control, hello again, cleared Abu P3 Lima arrival, descend when ready, flight level 120.
And we'll now set the altimeter with the QNH in Billund, which is 1009 hectopascal. And we can now see the coastline of Denmark in front of us.
Lufthansa 1462, contact Sweden, correction, Copenhagen control on 121.375. Bye-bye.
Copenhagen control on 121.375, Lufthansa 1462, bye-bye.
The Norwegian control is now handing us over to Copenhagen control while we are now going into Danish airspace.
Copenhagen control, Lufthansa 1462, flight level 310, inbound Ramu, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, København, good afternoon, identified. Expect ILS support Sunday 7-9 in Billund. Continue to send out 130 at your discretion.
Expect runway 09 in Billund and descend to 130 when ready, Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, read back, was a bit broken, just send out 130 when ready.
Flight level 130 when ready, Lufthansa 1462.
Control 24 Charlie, consider to send 5,000 feet, QNH 1008, high speed approach.
Contact 242 Charlie, send 5,000 feet, QNH 1008, high speed approach.
Altitude 130 set. We now got a clearance down to flight level 130. At the moment we are 1,200 feet above our glide path towards Billund. And here we can see our progress on this moving map, and we can see we are shortly crossing the border between the Norwegian and Danish airspace. And we can see waypoint Ramut coming up in 5 miles from now, and we have remaining 108 miles to Billund, or about 15 minutes. And we are now on the exact descent rate and exact on the glide path down to Billund. I will now change the terrain radar to the weather radar on the captain's CDU.
And radar contact 242 Charlie, how many track miles until base leg?
Hello, 242 Charlie. Expect approximately 4 simple track miles to touchdown, so that will be 20 track miles to base leg.
Roger, thank you.
The weather forecast for Billund is now raining and the temperature is 7 degrees Celsius with a dew point of 5 degrees Celsius. The wind is 350 degrees at 13 knots and the clouds are at 3,000 feet.
Countdown 242 Charlie, turn right heading 200 degrees, descent safely.
Right turn heading 200, descent 3000, contact 242 Charlie.
Again, control, delivery, return 057 with you. Pennsylvania 7574, Copenhagen, control, immediately identified. Headed down Copenhagen by a 202 Echo arrival, expect Monday 74 left. Descent flight level 80.
Roger, 202 Echo standard arrival, runway 04 right in use, international phone on board, and descent level 80574.
Pennsylvania 0574, expect island support Sunday 04 left.
Roger, we expect runway 04 left for the arrival, 574.
The west coast of Jutland is now coming up. The descent checklist was already done, but the co-pilot wanted once more. So recall checked, notes checked, auto brake, level 2, landing data, VREF, and so on, completed. Descent checklist completed. We have now remaining 73.3 nautical miles to Billund, or 11 minutes.
Copenhagen Charlie, today, North 155 with the Qatar water here. Hotel 155, Bergen, Leading identified, time flight level 350.
Flight level 350, revision 155.
From now I will use the HUD display, the head-up display.
2000 feet, Condor 242 Charlie.
Lufthansa 1462, fly heading 150 degrees.
Heading 150, Lufthansa 1462.
Condor 242 Charlie, sign up to the turns and now left heading 710 degrees, Alice 04.
Left 710, cleared Alice 04, left Condor 242 Charlie.
Lufthansa 1462, descent flight level 80, descent flight level 70, and turn right heading 160 degrees.
Down to 70 and heading 160, Lufthansa 1462.
Good evening, Lufthansa Papa Foxtrot at Alpha.
Lufthansa 9 Papa Foxtrot.
I will now reduce the speed to 240 knots. And activate the speed brake to reduce our speed.
It is not your request. You're currently leaving the airport, but you're talking to Copenhagen Control. What can I do for you?
Sorry, wrong frequency.
Condor 242 Charlie, I am so sorry for the late turn. Are you able to continue on the approach from there? You will be sadly about the glass, so we'll continue the documents.
242 Charlie, no problem. We continue visually and field is inside.
Condor 242 Charlie, thank you. Serviceman car combination for lift, gentlemen. Long landing approach.
Long landing approach.
We are now approaching 10,000 feet and we turn on the landing lights.
Lufthansa 1462, contact the Billund approach frequency. Decimal 575, have a safe landing.
Billund approach on 127.575, Lufthansa 1462.
Copenhagen Control is now handing us over to Billund approach on 118.75.
Billund approved Lufthansa 1462, flight level 90, heading 16040 Lufthansa 1462.
Lufthansa 1462, Billund approach, good evening, identified, expect vectors RLS runway 09, turn right heading 170, descend altitude 5,000 feet, QNH 1010.
QNH 1010 and descend on that QNH to 5,000 feet and heading 170 Lufthansa 142 and expect 09 ILS.
And we are now going through the clouds. Speed down to 200 knots. And now the rain has started. Flaps 15, speed brake up.
Ladies and gentlemen, in preparation for landing, please return all seat backs and tray tables to their upright and stowed position. Ensure all portable electronic devices are turned off and stow all carry-on items. Additionally, footrests and video monitors must be returned to their original position. Thank you.
Lufthansa 1462, descend altitude 3,000 feet.
Down to 3,000 feet, Lufthansa 1462.
Down to 3,000 feet.
Lufthansa 1462, turn left heading 120, clear ILS approach runway 09.
Left heading 120 and clear ILS 09, Lufthansa 1462.
Localizer armed. Approach armed. Approaching 3,000 feet. Localizer captured. Speed down to 190 knots and flaps 20.
Lufthansa 1462, when established on the localizer, contact tower frequency 119.0. Tango landing.
When established, tower on 119.0 Lufthansa 1462, thank you.
Flaps 25. And speed down to 170 knots. We are now fully established on ILS 09 in Billund. Speed down to 165 knots and flaps 30.
Billund Tower, Lufthansa 1462, fully established 09 ILS inbound.
2500.
Clear to land 09 Lufthansa 1462.
And we turn on the wipers. We have the runway in sight.
Land 3.
landing checklist.
Landing checklist, altimeters, set. Landing checklist completed. Welcome to Billund.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be taxiing for the next few minutes, so please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off the fasten seatbelt sign. At that time, please remember to check around your seating area, in the seat pockets, and overhead bins for all personal belongings that you brought on board. Please take care when opening the overhead bins, as the contents may have shifted during flight.
To stand 32 via Kilo and November Lufthansa 14623.
In the distance we have a Dash 8 taxiing out. And we turn right on November now. And here we are at gate 32. And we start the APU. And turn off the taxi light and the runway turn off light, the strobe off, and the beacon off. And the wipers off. And the seatbelt signs will remain on until we have stopped the engines. And the APU is now running, so we can shut down the engines. And we open the doors on the left side and the cargo doors on the right side. And the passengers are now deboarding the aircraft.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, have a good one.
Bye, thank you for a wonderful flight.
Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, thank you. Bye.
And we have now requested external power unit, so we can turn on the external power and shut down the APU.
Goodbye.
Bye, have a good one. Bye, have a good one. Thank you.
Bye, thank you.
Bye, thank you for a wonderful flight.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, have a good one.
Great job, gentlemen.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, thank you.
So this was the end of our flight from Bergen, Norway to Billund in Denmark. I hope you have enjoyed the flight and hope to see you on board this aircraft or another aircraft from Lufthansa another time. Thank you for watching and bye bye.